My name is Donald Roy Campbell. The year I was born is 1951. I was born in Jamaica in a parish called St. Thomas, in a district called Maley. And I was brought up there until the age of 13. So my previous years before that was my daddy left us when I was 4. My mother left us when I was 7. When I say us, I had 4 other siblings, 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and I'm the middle of the lot. So my formative years was growing up in Jamaica, going to school from junior school up to secondary school. And then I left Jamaica once my parents sent for me to join them in Birmingham, England. That was quite an experience. But before that, it was even more of an experience without your family. Not knowing when you're going to see mom or dad again. And I was very, very much attached to my mother, you know. So I spent all the years thinking, when am I going to see them again? So when I got notification that I was going to see my parents again, that was just fantastic. And I left, and nobody told me about the journey I was going to go. All I know, I was going to go and travel in a big iron bird. That's what we called them at the time, an iron bird. So I traveled in this big iron bird, taking off from Kingston, Jamaica, staging through Washington, D.C., and that was 25th of February, 1965. I remember it well because being dressed as a Caribbean youth in short sleeve, shorts, short sleeve shirt and shorts. I landed in Washington, D.C., and it was minus temperature. Now, prior to leaving Jamaica, somebody said, it's going to be cold in England, you know. When I go, cold, I'm a man. I know what cold is, I can stand it. That's somebody who'd never, ever experienced anything below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But I thought I knew until I landed in Washington, D.C. and experienced that. It was amazing. However, it was brief, but I then left from Washington, D.C. to Heathrow Airport. So we landed at 1:30, 1965 in February. We then drove from Heathrow Airport all the way up to Birmingham. And during that time, I kept seeing this white thing on the ground, and I'm thinking, what is that? So I said to my mother, what is that white thing on the ground there? And she said, it's snow. I said, snow? What is that? And she said, you know, I said, where's it come from then? She said, out the sky. And I said, no, it's only rain comes from out the sky, because it wasn't snowing at the time, but it was everywhere. And that was my first experience of snow. We arrived in Birmingham, and it then snowed 3 weeks, night and day. And I kind of fell in love with it in a way, because it was like, you get up in the morning or last thing at night, and you would see this trickle of snow, and it would vary with snowflakes. And I've got a musical mind, so it's like watching the snowflakes coming down and I'm interpreting it to music in my head. So it was fascinating watching it. But what it then did was just fill the streets everywhere. And therefore vehicles had a problem driving and all that sort of thing. So going on, and some kids learned that there was a new kid on the block. They wanted me to come out and play. So I then went outside in my slippers, in the snow, not knowing anything about snow. And in no time, my feet were frozen. And I'm thinking, what is this sensation of my feet? So I then went back inside and stuck them on the paraffin heater, which was the wrong thing to do, because these things are called chilblain. I'm learning new words now. You'll catch chilblain and all that, which I did. So those formative years, my first experience from Jamaica to that point was absolutely amazing. Then I went to school. And going to school, again, was another cultural change. So not only was I coping now with the weather, going to school in the snow, on blizzards in some cases, I was going to school mixed with a variety of different ethnic backgrounds. Now, if I say to you I didn't see a white person until I was 12, you probably think, wow, but I didn't. So now I was in school mixed with a whole lot of different faces, mainly of white and Asians and Africans and Caribbeans. But I then noted that most of the people in my class was of people from another country. So that was my experience. And then starting to learn about what this class was about, I'm thinking, why are we just doing this particular lesson? Because I'd done it quite a long time back in Jamaica. But people looked at me as if I knew nothing and treated me in that way. I didn't necessarily find out what I was capable of doing, but I then realized that they just put you in a class with mixed with a lot of people, different abilities in terms of language skills, in terms of understanding it, speaking it, on all this. It was just a class. And I just carried on because you've got to. When it comes to the last year of my schooling, when I was walking in the corridor and I heard this teacher said, "What are we going to do with them?" And he was referring to our class. And the other one said, "Let's make up a class and call it 4X. So having heard that, I'm thinking, wow, what's really going to happen to my last year at school? It meant I had no formative qualification. I then had to navigate my life from then. My life from then, let's go back a bit. Prior to leaving school, I said to my teacher one day, "I would like to join the military." And he said to me, "Which one?" I said, "What do you mean, which one?" Because I didn't know there was a difference between the Royal Navy, the Army, and the Royal Air Force. He says, "There are three." And I said, "Okay." So he said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you down to, in my case, Broad Street in Birmingham, where you had all the careers offices, career information offices." And I went to the Navy, and I didn't quite like the attitude of this particular petty officer, big tash and all that, just Lottie, and all that sort of thing. And in the end, I just said to him, "Look, I don't like the sea anyway, so the Navy's not for me." And subconsciously, I ruled out the Army. I just didn't think the Army was for me. And I went to the Royal Air Force Careers Office. And honestly, from that time onwards, it was just the thing for me. And of course, you have to go through the various aptitude tests to see how you fit in, where you fit in. So fortunately for me, I heard the gentleman said a trade that I'd like, and it was emergency, working with an aircraft and aircrew. And the fact that he mentioned working with aircraft and traveling, that was it for me. Because what I wanted to do, growing up in a conurbation like Birmingham with lots of high-rise flats and lots of vehicles, I didn't see too much of the world. And in my mind's eye, I wanted to see the world. So when he mentioned that you'd be working with aircraft and traveling, I immediately gravitated to that particular job, which what they call nowadays is survival equipment technician.